Welcome to Inside the Paint, an inside look into all of the action of the British Basketball League. We're in the business end of the season and all the teams are fighting to secure their spots in the playoffs. Make sure to like, share and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the action. I'm Jeanette Kwakye. I'm joined by head coach of the Leicester Riders, Rob Paternostro, and of course, former London Lion. And my right-hand man is Ovie Soko. Rob, welcome back. I mean, your team has done very well. Are you thinking you got a busy weekend? Are you hoping to move into the top 3 at the end of this weekend?
Well, we're hoping to play great basketball. We're not too caught up in the standings right now, but what I like about our team is we're finding ways to win in different, we're finding different ways to win. I think that's what all good teams do. You know, if one team takes something away from you, you counteract with another move, and that's what we've been doing.
It's very much about processes, isn't it, rather than thinking too much about the outcome at this stage, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to just stay in, 2 games, you just focus on the first one, that's all, and that's what we're doing, and hopefully by the end of the weekend we'll have smiles on our faces.
I hope so too. We are in round 19, Ovie. Who's impressing you at the moment in the championship?
I mean, I think Rob's team, not just because he's here. I think the Leicester Riders, they play exciting basketball, and they've been finding ways to win. They're finding their stride. Cheshire, they're very confident right now, extremely confident. They've just won the trophy. And then Surrey, didn't have the result that they wanted against Gladiators, but I think they've been doing a great job turning things around. The dark horse at the bottom of the league.
Let's see how they will get on, though. But last week we spoke about the GB squad selection, and since then, the long list has been announced. General Manager Dan Clark caught up with the league earlier this week.
Everyone's seen now the list of 24 that we released earlier this week. It's, I think it's exciting. We've got a lot of young players involved, first-timers, first-cappers. We've also got some of the old veterans involved that will hopefully help the younger players and guide a bit of the path for them. It's also great that we've got 9 players from the British Basketball League. I think it shows the growth of the league in general, which is only positive for the game in this country. Obviously, we've got the games coming up against the Netherlands and Czech Republic this February. That's the first group of games we have of this qualification round for EuroBasket in 2025, which is our next main objective in terms of qualification for that, and then also being, a successful team at that tournament once we get there. And everything that encompasses basketball in this country, there's huge steps that need to be taken still, but I definitely think we're on the right path. And, and the Federation, along with the British Basketball League, has a huge part to play in that. And I'm sure the work that they're doing together, developing players and producing players and allowing them to play at home, it's a huge step in the right direction.
Love that. Fun fact about Dan Clark, he went to school with my brother.
Ooh.
Yeah. Just thought I'd throw that in there. But Coach Rob, based on that, what he said, what do you think about the team and everything?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see some new faces in there. That's pretty cool. I mean, Josh Ward-Hibbert, a former player of mine, gets an opportunity there. So, yeah, young and old, and I think that you got to get these groups together. It's important for them to learn each other, and that's what these windows are about is, not just getting the results, but getting the team together so you understand how you want to play.
Yeah, Novi, you've been part of that setup before. What do you think about what's going on now?
I think it's great. I think it's great implementing the new guys, and obviously you always want to make sure that you're preparing for, the passing on. And I think we are in a different time of basketball in this country. There's a lot of things that are accessible to the guys now that weren't around when I was around. But I am interested to see what the actual approach is, as far as are they going in to win these games? And if you're going in to win these games, what does the final selection look like?
Yeah.
Happy with it, but also still a bit curious.
Yeah. Anyone in particular you think should have been on the team? Not quite made the team?
I thought Aaron Ray had an opportunity maybe, I thought his ability to be different, he's a different type of player, a tough matchup. So maybe down the line we'll get to see him. I was, surprised he wasn't on the list.
Yeah. Anyone else, Ovie? Just Aaron maybe?
Right, he's the one that stands out, and I think, like what Coach just said, I feel like his skills are very transferable. You look at what he's able to do at this level, it's a lot of the same stuff he done at the level he was playing at last year, and I do think there are certain things in the IQ he plays with that, he can play against a lot higher level competition, but we all want to see it.
Well, I want to see it indeed, but let's bring it back to the championship. This Thursday night, the Caledonia Gladiators hosted the Surrey Scorchers, and here is what happened. It was a very quick start. That's what Caledonia needed, and that's what they delivered. Quade Green making his presence known in the first quarter in his league debut with some really useful assists, but it was Princeton Onwas, the standout player for the Gladiators. Surrey making the most of three-point opportunities, keeping Caledonia as close as possible, but super sloppy turnovers allowing the Gladiators to creep away in a fairly chilled first half. onwards, finishing on 17 points, guiding the Gladiators to an 8-point advantage into the break. The third quarter was all about the Gladiators, who stormed through the Scorchers in fashion, and a 12-0 run unanswered would prove pivotal for the final result. Onwards was the one to watch in the first half, but then step forward, Mike Bothwell alongside Quade Green, making the unit solid as they marched on to win that quarter 22-11, missing some of their star players with that final score 84-75. They're back to winning ways. Coach Rob, honestly, for the Gladiators, you know, they've had a couple of tough games, but to come back and win this, that was a pretty big deal for them, I'm sure.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think defensively, you know, we talked about that. They had to play better defense. I thought they did tonight. But now you look at Green. When Whelan gets back, Green, Bothwell, Whelan, wow, there's some firepower there that really looks good for them moving forward.
Yeah, that's a massive challenge, isn't it? To show all the other teams in the league as well what kind of depth they could have coming on and off that bench and starting.
Yeah, I mean, the depth is going to be necessary moving forward. You know, different guys stepping up each game mentality is what they're going to have. And ultimately, down the stretch, they're going to have to be able to call on these different guys and hopefully get these guys meshed together in time for the playoffs.
Okay, well, let's see where that leaves us then. Plenty coming up, of course, on our YouTube channel across this weekend. But look at that. You can see the result from this evening, 84-75, the Caledonia Gladiators against the Surrey Scorchers. But plenty to whet your appetite, of course, over the weekend. How does that affect the league standings? Ta-da! Not much. It stays exactly the same. Caledonia Gladiators in third, Surrey Scorchers in 8th. Of course, loads of teams to play over the weekend, so there will be some shopping and changing across the weekend. It is super, super busy weekend ahead of us, starting on Friday with those 2 games tipping off. At 7:30, the Newcastle Eagles will travel to take on the Plymouth City Patriots. And at 7:45, it's going to be Coach Rob's Leicester Riders. They're going to host the Sheffield Sharks. And Rob, this is the 3rd time you'll be playing Sheffield, and you've both got a dub apiece. What are you going to be focusing on this time?
Well, you got to be patient with them. They don't really play fast, and they move the ball from side to side. So from a defensive standpoint, you have to make sure you play defense for that full 24 seconds. They make you work.
And Ovie, you know, Sheffield have had quite a tough couple of weeks, losing 4 out of their 5 last championship games. Do they still have time to turn it around maybe before we get to those playoffs?
They're going to have to, but they're trending in, you know, the wrong direction at the moment. They're going to have to try and figure something out, maybe have a group intervention, try and figure out how they want to move forward. But right now, like Coach said, you want to be playing your best basketball, and it's kind of looking like their best basketball might have been in the rearview mirror. So.
Oh, but you don't want to have that at this point of the season. You want to keep the momentum. You want to keep that motivation, right?
Yeah, and Coach Lyons has a track record of getting his team playing good basketball at the end of the season. So I expect them, you know, they had some change, and I expect them to get better. They played London 2 times in a row. That's always going to be difficult.
Yeah.
So when the schedule evens out for them, I expect they'll climb the table.
Okay, we'll just see how they get on Saturday. The Surrey Scorchers, they'll host the Manchester Giants at 5 o'clock for the 3rd time, followed by the London Lions travelling to take on the Bristol Flyers. And Ovie, London have a chance to win the championship this weekend. It sounds crazy. That's if they win against Bristol and Cheshire lose their game on Sunday. So it does depend on other results. What does that do to a team's confidence knowing you're going into a situation like that?
I mean, anytime you can get any silverware, anytime you can sort of win a championship, get any of those notches on your belt, it's a great moment, you know, and it's a happy moment for the team, for the coaching staff, for the players. It's a great achievement. However, is that what's best for them in the long term? Do they start resting guys? What happens with the lineups? Does it change? It leaves a lot of questions on the table, and the biggest thing you do want in this period of the season is consistency.
Yeah.
You want to have a consistent energy, consistent approach, everything just moving like clockwork. And what I can probably actually see this doing is throwing a little spanner in the works, and the coach may be thinking, oh, actually, we don't have to play these guys this weekend. Some guys might not want to play this week. Look, coach, we've already won.
Yeah.
So, you know, it does pose different questions.
You want to up the ante and keep the ante when it is upped, I should say. And Coach Rob, Bristol, they've beaten London before by 22 points, actually, in the trophy competition. So they're going to want to they fancy their chances, surely.
Well, I mean, obviously the lineup that they play was a little bit different. They'll probably see a different lineup, but anytime you go to Bristol, it's a difficult place to play. Smaller venue, but loud and certainly unique. So Bristol, who've had a tough run here, and really have to gear up for this one. They need to get a W.
Okay, they need that dub. To close out the weekend, Leicester will play their second game, this time travelling to take on Plymouth City Patriots at 3 o'clock, followed by the Cheshire Phoenix hosting the Caledonia Gladiators at 6. We're joined by our commentary dream team. It's Todd Harris and Azania Stewart. And Azania, this is the third time Caledonia and Cheshire will meet in the regular season, and they've each won a game. Is this shaping up to become one of the big classic rivalries in the league, the ones that we love?
We sure do love them, Jeanette, you're right. And I think that's a great point. We've just seen Caledonia beat Surrey, and very convincingly. And in that third quarter, they won that quarter 22-11. Their defense was incredible, but their offense was fantastic.
You talk about the defense. They held Surrey to 47 points through 3 quarters. Now, the question is, can Cheshire duplicate that, or can Cheshire be held to that same point total? And I think Cheshire has so much offensive firepower, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, and talking about their offensive firepower, who steps up? They have, Skylar White. They have Aaron Wright. Who else is playing well? Cam Christian has 25 huge points versus Bristol, who they only beat by 2. But that winning mentality after the trophy, they were undefeated. You can see the swag. It's oozing out of them. I'm still going to stick with them Cheshire boys. Jeanette, she always wants me to pick somebody, so I'm going to pick Cheshire.
She's going out on a limb, Jeanette. She's going with Cheshire.
You know I do not like fence sitters, so thank you very much, Azania, and of course to you as well, Todd. And that's it from us this week. So please do leave a comment below to let us know which games you'll be watching this weekend, and make sure to like, share and subscribe so you don't miss a minute of the British Basketball League. It's unbeatable for sure, and goodbye for now.